Hello, welcome back. Today I am doing the Virgo collective reading for the next week or so, probably till whatever today is next week. I'm not sure that I'm going to be doing these every single week just because they're pretty time consuming, but I feel like I'm going to kick out these weekly reads, I guess, just while the energy shifts, and then I'll probably lean into something more like a monthly reading or something that changes with the current planetary alignments, like the new moon. So new moon, full moon, all that stuff. Okay, so tuning into your energy, Virgo, to be able to read this for you, I would like to ask that you try to zoom out, remove any type of self-judgment that you might have against yourself in listening to this, because I want you to maintain perspective and maintain objective as we dig into this reading. The reason why I say that is because I feel like your reading kind of felt a little bit shadowy to me. The reason why I say that is because the first couple cards that most of them actually came out in reverse, which not always do I read them in that way, but depending on the energy, if they come out in reverse, it might mean something totally different, or it might feel like something totally different. And the very first cards that I pulled for you were actually the Knight of Wands and the Six of Wands in reverse. And immediately with these, I felt like you might be looking everywhere but within, or paying attention to everything except within. And I say that because the Knight of Wands, he just kind of mounted this horse and was like, okay, go, go, go. But he didn't really think about it. And the thing is that we all have our shadow aspects. We all have our shadow sides. But for you, I feel like this really shows up in maybe jumping onto opportunities, or maybe caretaking roles or opportunities where you might just be maintaining the image of a good person. And I don't think that all of your actions are coming from good intentions. It feels like you're doing a lot of these things to maintain an image, and otherwise just to maintain an image that's been placed on you, but it's not necessarily coming from a good place. And with the Six of Wands, I feel like what you want to get out of it just doesn't happen because it's not truly like in alignment with you. And I think that like astrologically speaking for Virgos, I feel like you have a tendency to always kind of go back and forth between doing something out of the goodness and also doing something out of maybe trying to derive some sense of power over someone or over a situation. And I feel like you hold a lot back as well, but the only thing that you're holding back is your ability to connect with other people because you're not showing up authentically. And I know it's kind of hard. I can tell that there's some type of heart chakra, solar plexus, and throat chakra blockage with this. And I think that this is something that you've been dealing with. If you haven't done the shadow work around it before, I think this is something that you've been dealing with for years. It's a little bit tough, but the next card that came out for you was the Strength card. So even though you might think that you don't have the strength or the willpower to kind of break beyond these barriers that we set up for ourselves, or to free ourselves from the chains that we might have placed on ourselves, or maybe from just feeling chained down or trapped by other people, by expectations. A lot of times, going back to the first couple cards, a lot of times we tend to take on the caretaker role because that's one, the only thing that we know, and two, we might have been placed there by our family roles or by our family dynamics. But in time, this has really taken a massive toll on you and a huge strain on your relationships. And so leaning into the next couple cards that I pulled for you, I got the Nine of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, and then the Three of Pentacles. And as I was shuffling, also cards that kept like appearing were the Hermit card, the Ten of Swords, a lot of swords. So this is probably going to happen a lot faster than you expect, or this transformation or the invitation to initiate this transformation. But please know that you do have the strength and the willpower, as well as the wisdom to break free of these patterns, because I do feel like at this point. They're just toxic patterns that you may or may not be aware of that are constantly repeating. And with this eclipse season, this new moon, you really have the opportunity to say, I'm not doing this anymore, and to just surrender. So I hope that you do take that invitation and that you do surrender, because I think it would be really good for you. And then following, which would also kind of confirm that, would be the Nine of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles. However, with the Nine of Pentacles and the Six, the same, kind of going back to the first couple of cards, I'm not sure if you might be either depleting yourself financially to show up as like more of like a mothering energy, a caretaker, or something like that, but it feels like you are largely operating out of more of your feminine energy. And I say that because culturally speaking, along tons of cultures, women are expected to kind of put themselves on their back burner and to not take care of themselves for the sake of taking care of other people. So I really feel that with this card. And then also, the reason why I say that you might be depleting yourself financially is because while there are a lot of pentacles in here, it seems like her garden is blooming, yes, but at the same time it looks like almost plants are dying. And this is not typically like a negative card, none of these are really, but when they're laid out the way that they are, and just the energy that I kind of picked up on them, it's just like, it's almost like a breaking point that you're reaching. Please hold. Got a little hot for a second. So yeah, I feel like you are seriously being pushed to kind of break free from this. And as I've mentioned in other readings, tarot is often read like a metaphor, so I often speak in metaphors. So the severity of this could be showing up in different ways. If it's maybe, who knows, a new friend that you have that wants you to spend all this money on their birthday, but when it comes, or like if you look at the past, or when it comes to their birthday, they're not willing to do the same, or they're just not available. That can show up like this. If you are a parent, it might be not providing the tools that your children need in order for them to be able to take care of themselves, so they always kind of rely back on you. Or you might be creating the environment to where they constantly rely on you. And I say that because she's holding like a little bird, but this is a trained bird. So think of the patterns that you might be teaching, the patterns that you might be perpetuating by not making these changes within yourself. And also the other thing that I really noticed in your reading was that in none of these cards are the people represented looking at themselves, looking straight, or looking within. So again, it's almost like you're looking everywhere else but within, and you might be looking at certain situations and be like, oh, it's because of this. No, how did you get there? That's what needs to be looked at. That's what needs attention, not the circumstance itself, but how did you get there? What led you there? That's what needs to be explored, because it feels like there is some sort of projection to where you might be giving away your power, and maybe even leading to thoughts or beliefs of like being the victim in whatever situation. And remember, this can show up in different levels. I don't feel like this is for everybody, and if anything, I almost felt like I picked up on like two different scenarios, because on the other end, I feel like there are some Virgos who are more aligned with themselves, and if that's you, this will not resonate whatsoever. But it feels like a majority are in this energy and do need to kind of focus on this energy. And it's cyclical, it's generational, and it will continue to be cyclical and generational until you turn within. And then the final cards that I pulled for you were the Six of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles. So on the flip side of the initial energy that I felt, if you are able to kind of turn that energy back to yourself, you will in time start to kind of create more balance. And I want you to notice that when you, or if you start to feel maybe empty when you're not able to I want to say like provide for other people, notice how you might be externalizing your worth in your ability to provide for other people. And I think that's very, very common just for mothers as a whole, because you look at your kids and you're like, I gave up everything for you, or you know, that's usually what we hear, or like, I would do anything for my kids, and you don't notice in time you start to build some type of resentment over that, resentment over your position. So notice that and try to detach from that need to be placed at a certain level in other people's lives, because it really doesn't matter where you're placed in the perspective of others if you have yourself at the very bottom. So this is really kind of just pushing you to do a lot more self-care, a lot more inner work. Please focus on your solar and your sacral chakras, because I definitely feel like there's a lot there. And then again, you might notice those feelings of maybe emptiness or loneliness, and I invite you to take a look at how that emptiness might be showing up and how it might be asking you to fill your own cup for a change. And with the Three of Pentacles, I think that this is the potential of the commitment that you can make for yourself. Also, it can also speak to maybe the transformation within your own relationships. But it just feels like there's a lot that's got you kind of distracted, a lot that is just kind of throwing you off center. But go back to what I said earlier. How did you get there? What led you there? What patterns might have led you there? Dissect that a little bit more, because you have a ton of potential. There's a ton of potential for you to truly harness your power and use it for your own good, rather than maintaining like a seeming appearance or feeling of like power over people. And again, we do that in different ways. It might just be the way that we plan, who knows, our day-to-day life, the way that we plan events. Like, no, I'm only going to talk to you from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. If it's not within that time, we cannot connect. And then it's like, it's creating a rift within your relationships. If it's something where it's like, no, we're only able to get together Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you are maintaining control over that situation or over that schedule, and it's creating a rift. And it's that same rift that's kind of breaking you down a little bit, but at the same time, it's just like you're depleting yourself. So try to focus on where you might be doing that, how you might be recreating certain scenarios, and come back into balance within yourself so that you don't stay in the cycle of repetition, because there is a lot available to you, but it's up to you whether you want to make that happen or not. And I say that because of the Three of Pentacles. This is a damn good card. It's building new foundations. It's literally symbolic of new contracts, new connections, and all of that stuff. But how are you going to do that if your own garden is not being taken care of? You can't do it. I mean, you can't do it in a healthy manner. So there's that. That's all I have for you today. I did pull another card, which was the King of Cups for you. And as I was shuffling the deck, I forgot what card it was, so maybe I won't mention it. I think it was the Four of Wands or something like that. But the King of Cups was an extra card that I pulled for you, just because those first ones just kind of felt really heavy, and I was like, I want to make sure that I don't, like, I know hearing some of these truths might be scary and they might make us want to reject certain things. So I wanted to just pull another card to make sure that it wasn't just the way that these felt that I give the reading the way that I did. But the next card that I pulled for you, the extra one, was the King of Cups. And this one honestly just kind of solidified everything that I had felt before, because while the King of Cups again is not a negative card, you can see that his foundation is not fully built. He's literally like on almost like not a sinking ship because he's literally on a throne, but his throne is on a literal concrete slab in the middle of the ocean in unstable waters, and his cup is empty. So there's a lot available to you, but you cannot reach that, you cannot attain those things until you focus on whatever this is. And it could just be a certain level of resentment that you might have, but please explore that. Allow yourself to kind of dive into those deep waters so that you can transmute whatever that energy might be, and so that you can come back to watering your own garden. That's all I have for you. Keep in mind, this is not permanent. You do have the power of choice. It is available to you. It's up to you what your next reading looks like and whether or not you want to dive in and do it for yourself this time. So yeah, thank you for allowing me to read for you, for tuning in. Please remember, I will never DM you for a reading. You can schedule a reading with me at www.theholistic.healer.org, not .com. My only Instagram and TikTok are Mountains by Melody Ann, all spelled out. Second TikTok is The Holistic Healer. That's all. I know this is gonna seem a little heavy, and I want to stress, like, just zoom out a little bit. If you didn't like listening to it, that resistance is something that you should probably pay attention to. I heard somewhere, and I think I might have read it too, something along the lines of, like, resistance is revealing, because we feel that strong resistance to make the change when we know that we need to make the change. So if you felt any level of resistance within this, allow yourself to zoom out, gain perspective, and dive in. Come on, it's nice and bright and sunny on the other side. And there's a lot available to you. Yeah, that's all I have for you. Have a good day.